We'll talk about Saudi Arabia and their scam that people are promoting for no fucking reason. But more importantly than that, no, not Felix Lengyel, the Lion of Level, but Felix B. Felix Biederman, friend of the show, Chapo Trap House, Grey Wolf himself. We haven't talked about Grand Theft Auto 6 yet either. I will talk about it in a little bit. Right now, I want to talk to the rail strikes and the man, the goated legend himself, Mick Lynch, okay?
Listening to the Transport Secretary joining us now. Hello to you, Mr. Lynch. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us on the programme. He was talking about you. What are you going to say in response?
Are we a free country or aren't we?
Oh, I didn't hear all of it. He seemed to be saying that railway workers have received £160,000 in subsidy. What he really means is that he's given the private sector operators that money, and last year they removed £500 million from this industry in profit. So it's his construction of the way that the railway industry that is shaped at the moment that is causing these problems, and he's responsible for this dispute in the sense that he has a veto on what the train operating companies can offer us. It's written into their contracts that he's directly responsible for industrial relations, and he can dictate what the terms are. And the fact is they've made no offer on pay towards our members. What they've offered us is mass redundancies, recontracting our members on inferior terms and conditions, massive changes to their work-life balance, and cuts in Network Rail to the safety regime of up to 50% of the inspection. So he's caused this problem, and he's got to facilitate a way out of it, and he could do that today. And if he wants to facilitate a negotiated settlement, I'm very happy to deal with him. But what he won't do is contact me or any of my officers or any of the people responsible for this negotiation and create a way forward.
And the reason he won't is because he says that you're militant, that you're extreme left, and he went on to say that you're not normal because there have been 160 different disputes, and there is some sort of dispute or balloting for a dispute every single day.
Well, it's ironic to be called not normal by the Conservative Party, who are taking themselves into the realms of the extreme right at the moment, as we've seen in this contest. They're saying that paying tax isn't normal, and having free trade unions with the ability to take industrial action isn't normal. The people behind me are ordinary men and women.
Rip his fucking guts out! Mick Lynch! Rip his fucking throat out, mate! The Conservative Party!
In this country, they work hard to deliver the railway service, and what they don't want to do is see their wages diluted, their terms and conditions diluted, and their contracts of employment ripped up. So I'm not a militant, I'm not even a member of a political party, and I haven't been for 30 years. So the idea that we're running some ideological campaign is nonsense, frankly. What we want to do is get a settlement to a straightforward industrial dispute on jobs, pay and conditions. And we could do that if Grant Shapps would allow the companies to negotiate freely, and he hadn't cut £2 billion from the funding of the National Railway and £2 billion from the London Underground in the last few weeks.
Is it right, is it true, what he said, that there have been 160 different disputes or threats of disputes, and there is some threat every single day?
Well, we deal with over 500 companies in the transport sector, ranging from bus to fire engine, ranging from bus to the ferries, and lots of other entities that we deal with. So we will always defend our members. Not all of those disputes run into industrial action. Industrial action's quite rare on the railway and in the transport sector. So we will always work with our employers to try and get a settlement to any of the disputes that we're involved in. And what we've got here is a protracted dispute because of the stance of this government and because of Grant Shapps' attitude, and is a...
He lying? I like his ideology. Hey, how about you shut up about his ideology, okay?
Approach towards industrial relations. So
what do you mean? He's just a regular fucking trade unionist, man. Shut up. He's got no ideology. He only cares about the workers. Why you gotta fucking sit there and be like, aha! Does he believe in the Marxist doctrine? Shut up. No, he doesn't. He's not doing anything. He's just striking. He's just a regular old working class guy, okay? Yeah.
Is it right
these companies were allowed to act as all the other companies are,
Yeah.
we would get a settlement to this dispute.
Is it right that he says that 2 vans have to go to every job as opposed to even 1 van being needed, but you double up?
Bro, this guy said he isn't working class. Bro. A union leader isn't working class. Who's working class then? An oil baron? What is working class if this guy isn't working class? There is literally no one that's working class then. What the fuck? Dude, capitalist propaganda is so fucking sick. I need a retort from this man. Oh, dude. Oh my God. Trippy Red. Give me more, please. Please. You got it. You got this. Please explain to me. He's got this Zoomer SoundCloud rapper fan is going to explain to us who the real working class is. I already know though, okay? It's his dad who owns a fucking jellied eel restaurant, okay? Mixed by is amazing. He grew up in the Paddington area of London in what he described as a rent room in what would now be called a slum. He left school at the age of 16 and qualified as an electrician, then worked in construction before being illegally blacklisted for joining a union. Who's working class, brother? Jeff Bezos? You need to vote Tory to be working class in the UK, bruv. Brexit means Brexit. Come on, then. He's gone then. He said it and he left, right? He left, right?
Up on everything?
No, that's a load of nonsense. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We are talking to Network Rail about the deployment of staff every day of the week. There's never been an occasion where a member has refused to get in a van with other people. It's rubbish.
Okay, just to clarify, he made the point, and I'm glad you've clarified it for us. 4% is what you've been offered, with a possible 4% next year as well, depending on changes to working practices. Has that offer been made to your members, or did you reject it before even offering it to them?
Well, we haven't been offered a straightforward pay deal. What we've been offered is a set of conditions. We've got to accept nearly 2,000 redundancies. We've got to accept cuts in the maintenance regime of up to 50%. We've got to accept massive changes to our members' working conditions. And the offer that they've made is conditional on all of those things. And it's a 4% offer.
Trying to fucking... dude, what she's doing right now, and for those of you, for the uninitiated, what this reactionary piece of garbage at Sky News, okay, is doing currently is disruptive rhetoric, okay? The way she just framed that as though there is actually a fucking deal in place that the union leadership is not taking to the rank and file is specifically done so that there is questioning amongst the rank and file against union leadership that is currently advocating for their best interests. No fucking fair and balanced journalist would behave this way. Journalism is not supposed to be about like trying to deliberately carve a disruptive rhetoric directly into the fucking rank and file amongst the leadership or against the leadership and create antagonisms during times of industrial action. But because media is not actually anti-capitalist or really fair and balanced, her goal in this circumstance is to do precisely that. You're coming across as kind of a capitalist phobe? Sorry, I apologize. I am a bit of that. Why would a reporter have bias in this dispute? They're just a reporter. My friend, I don't know where to begin to describe to you how the media operates as an arm of the bourgeois capital owning class, other than to just refer to you to manufacturing consent. It's just a reporter. I wonder why a multi-billionaire owned media broadcasting company would be working against striking workers in this circumstance. I wonder why they do that. Why would they do that? I don't get it.
That covers last year.
Because the only people that do stuff like that, whether they're willingly doing it or unwillingly, inadvertently doing it without realizing, those are the only people that get to that level within media. Because that's their job. Their job is not to adequately report on the news. It is to adequately get you to feel that things are normal when things are not normal. A small taco, if you send me that link one more time, I'm going to fight you. Okay. Stop gifting subs. Stop sending me the same link. It's already right here. Shut the fuck up. I'm going to get to it. Okay. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs though.
And this year, and next year's offer would take it to a 3-year deal. Inflation today, the retail price index, is 11.8. So it doesn't go anywhere near resolving the cost of living crisis. But what we want to do first is work out what the conditions are, get a guarantee of no compulsory redundancies, and then we can work on the pay. But people are being impoverished in this country by below inflation pay deals, and this is yet another below inflation pay deal. What we do...
Remember, united you bargain, divided you beg, okay? Because in America we have no unions, because in America the unionization rate is at 11%, lower than fucking Chile. Okay? You have no comprehension of what this man is doing in this circumstance. You're like, what the fuck? A strike? What do you mean? But think about how shitty you felt if you're not one of these fucking neats that sits around all day on Twitch. Think about how shitty you felt when you got a fucking 3% pay raise or a 4% pay raise at a time when inflation is at 8%. That's not a pay raise. That's a pay cut because the cost of living is now up 8% and your actual paycheck didn't rise alongside the cost of living. Your actual paycheck actually only rose at half the rates of inflation, which means you didn't actually get a raise. You got a pay cut. You understand? And that is if you're lucky too. You got a big pay cut if you never even got a raise. So what he's doing is fighting for his fucking workers. What he's doing is exactly what they democratically voted for him to do. This is what his job is. To be the fucking face of the working class and the striking railway workers. And he's doing a fucking incredible job at it. God damn, dude. If we had more people like this in America, I don't know where we would be.
With those offers is consult our members in mass meetings. And we have done that. And they have overwhelmingly given us the answer that they reject that offer.
And those latest conditions, have they been put to your members?
Yeah, we explain all of the offers to our members and we broadcast
And they said no thanks.
See, look at that. Look. She's doing it again. Trying to separate rank and file from union leadership. Classic move.
Thanks. We want you to go on strike again. Because the reason I'm pushing you on this, Mr. Lynch, is because apparently that isn't the case and your members have not been given the opportunity to offer their opinion on the latest offer from Network Rail. That, again, is incorrect, yeah?
They've been offered the opportunity to offer their opinion through their representatives, the same way that MPs represent their constituents. We have a network of representatives, and the offer is obviously unacceptable because if you look behind me, our people are out on strike in massive numbers. We've got 43,000 people in this strike. When we started, we had just over 40,000 people. Railway workers...
The best part about it is that capitalists love using, like, anti-capitalist criticisms when speaking out against the union and labor action. They'll always try to say, oh, isn't it authoritarian that you are still continuing the strike rather than negotiating on the terms that your bosses set, right? And it's like, the fuck do you mean? The boss is setting the conditions is authoritarian. The union's job is to push back against that. He's doing his fucking job. That's his job. Why do you never direct that authoritarianism, that kind of like anti-authoritarian rhetoric towards the corporate structure, which is inherently authoritarian? There is no democracy in the corporate structure. At least there's accountability. If he doesn't do his job, he's no longer going to be the fucking leader. Okay? You can't fire your boss, though, in a similar capacity because he refuses to increase your pay year over year and at least tie it to, like, inflation.
Are joining this dispute because they want to go on strike in response to what the government is offering. The membership in this dispute has grown by 2,500 since the last strike action. So the support for this dispute is growing by people joining the RMT in response to what they see as these paltry offers and the offer of impoverishment going forward.
Okay, Eddie Dempsey, RMT union negotiator, I'm sure you know him. Apparently, he's said by industry sources to have said, we can see a way through it and are prepared to postpone the strikes. Is that true?
That's completely untrue. We can see a way through it. We can see the way to a negotiated settlement, but we've never said to anyone that we're prepared to postpone the strikes. We take the offers back to our executive committee, we talk to our members, we examine the offer against what the dispute is about, and the offers so far have not matched what we need to settle the dispute. And I also say, Kay, that we've not had an offer from the train operating companies. Half the people in dispute work for train operators, and there is no pay offer whatsoever. There is no job security offer, and all that they've proposed is that they shut every ticket office. They put all of our members on new contracts of employment, just like the P&O dispute and fire and rehire, and none of that is acceptable to anyone in our union.
It looks like, well, certainly as we speak, Liz Truss is the favourite to be the next Prime Minister. She says she's had enough. The union barons, I think she means you.
Union barons. I love that rhetoric. So remember Alex Press, labor reporter Alex Press, once famously corrected me when I said union boss, and she was like, that is capitalist terminology. Unions don't have bosses. Corporations have bosses. Unions have leaders. In the UK, they use union barons, which is really interesting because the UK has barons, like actual barons and lords. They have a House of Lords. So if you're going to apply a negative connotation to barons, perhaps go fucking kill the lords first. If that's something that you're like, oh my God, really frustrated with. What the fuck? You can't have fucking lordship in your country and then use barons as a negative connotation. And when I say kill, I don't mean literally, okay? I mean like the title. But holy shit, historically speaking, lords have not been able to get away with it that aggressively. Anarchitty moment? Yeah, dude, me saying that like lords should not exist is an anarchitty concept. That's insane, dude. You are so fucking cucked. What do you mean? It is not a ridiculous thing to fucking criticize a nation so cucked by not only just class dynamics, but unironically, like the complete consolidation of power in the most antiquated capacity possible. You're literally defending monarchy, the most antiquated institution that even capitalist liberal nations laugh at and have historically destroyed by killing them. You're caping for feudalism. You're caping for monarchy. We still have fucking counts and earls, and we have a better labor movement in the U.S. Lamau, what is this fucking country? Don't even get me started on this shit.
I've got too much power, and that power will be removed with a change in the law. What would you say in response to her?
Well, I'm not a union baron. I'm an elected officer of this union, and the people behind me elect me, and they can get rid of me if they want to through the election process. We haven't got too much power. The problem in this country is that trade unions don't have enough power. That's why so many people are suffering poor wages. That's why there's such an imbalance in the workplace.
So good.
And it's a shame that the Tory party is descending into an ultra-right clique at the moment. And Liz Truss is seeking to take away human rights and the ability of the democratic right of people to express themselves through their trade unions and industrial action, which is one of the pillars of our democracy. It's only repressive regimes that stop people going on strike and stop them expressing themselves and stop them rebalancing the power in the workplace through their trade unions. I know you're a busy man, so I'm going to have to let you go. One final question before I do, though. You say you haven't got enough power. What more power do you want? Well, what we want is the ability to express ourselves.
How much power? How much more power do you want? Yo, how are you a fucking... Dude, journalism is so funny. Oh, God. I mean, that's incredible. How much more power do you want? Hey, before we go, I have one last question. When did you stop murdering babies? When did you stop beating your wife? Have you ever thought about stopping beating your wife and murdering babies at the same time? Like, that's the framing energy of that fucking question. That's awesome, dude. It's not power for him. It's power to the fucking workers, by the way.
As free trade unions, so that we don't have these oppressive anti-trade union laws. We don't have the threats of millions of pounds of fines against trade unions. And we don't want to go back to the 70s, where one of the previous Tory governments put trade unionists in prison for taking industrial action. And if that's the path we're going down, we're going to live in a very repressive society. We want to act freely as democratic people.
Okay, let's fucking show how this King Ed Dempsey operated on television, by the way. Here it is.
Yeah.
A right-wing TV show asks union leader Eddie Dempsey if workers are being greedy for going on strike for a pay raise. Here's his response.
It's a bit of a cheek having a program asking trade unions being greedy for asking for a pay rise. The FTSE 350 top companies in this country, their profits have gone up 73% since 2019. When are we going to ask, are they being greedy? What about the railway companies that have been ripping this country off for years?
The point is...
No one asks about their profits or whether they're greedy.
You're going on strike and it's going to impact
We're going on
everyday
strike.
people going to work. It's at
That's
the start
right.
of the Commonwealth Games. That's going to impact...
No, it's not at the start of the Commonwealth Games.
Summer at its height.
It's not at the start of the Commonwealth Games. We didn't strike on the Commonwealth Games. It's the day before.
The day before it starts.
The day before is not the Commonwealth Games.
As it's starting, you've got people travelling.
It starts the day after.
You know what's funny about this? It's like, yeah, you strike while the iron is hot. You don't get to fucking tell a man when or how he gets to fucking advocate for his best interest. Of course, you always try to fucking do this. Everyone always tries to say, oh, well, you're doing it while it's like, you're doing it while this is inappropriate timing. It's like, no, dude, that's when you're supposed to do it. The fuck do you mean? You're supposed to do it exactly when it is the most inopportune time for capital owners, because there's two sides to this contract negotiation. And that is what's incredibly fucking frustrating to me. Okay? Capitalist media rarely ever talks about the boss's responsibility to concede to the demands of the employees. Just because there's a labor dispute doesn't mean that the labor dispute stops and starts with the workers. The labor dispute stops also when the bosses agree to the demands of the labor union. And that is never addressed in any media. I have never seen, with the exception of like Navarra media, with the exception of like leftist outlets that are otherwise independent, I have never seen anyone, and I mean anyone in these supposedly progressive outlets like the fucking BBC or the Guardian or these right-wing networks in the UK and in America. I've never seen a single person stand up other than the actual union members themselves. I've never seen a single person on the media side ever go, you know, isn't there a responsibility for you to concede to the demands of the workers or the workers in this circumstance if you want the dispute to end, if you want the strike to end? They never ask that question. It's always on the hands of the fucking working class. It's bullshit. It's so ridiculous, dude. It's so messed up. And they do it because they're on the side of capital. They do it because that is who pays their salary. They do it because they're getting paid a salary specifically, so they say these sorts of things.
After. They'll be travelling on the day too.
to Birmingham for the
Listen,
games, it's going to impact them.
People will
as
find
you
it
know.
hard on a strike day, but people will find it hard when it's not a strike day, because there's people in this country spending 18% of their income travelling on trains. We've got the highest fares in Europe because profiteers have been robbing this country blind for years. At the same time, later on in this year, energy prices are going to be so high. Some of my people will be spending 2 full months of take-home pay on energy. And you're telling us that we're greedy for expecting workers to keep up with that. What we need in this country is a cost of living crisis addressed through the wage packet, and we need price caps on energy, and we need the profits taken down a peg or two. Because the people at the top of the economy, they're having a disco, and everyone else is being told that they've got to
They're having a disco. I love
carry the
that.
can and tighten their belts. It's not on. I have to tell
You wanted a pay rise. You've got that. The pay rise you've
you,
been
we haven't
offered.
got a pay rise. It's
the
a real
pay rise
terms
you've
pay
been
cut.
offered is more than what nurses.
Yeah, you got a pay rise immediately. Like right-wing framing, you got a pay rise. If it's 4% increase and inflation's at 8, that's not a pay rise, it's a pay cut.
Are getting. It's more than
Nurses-
3%.
nurses
You've been
deserve
offered
far more than what
discounts
they're getting.
for family members.
Pinning other working class unions against another union engaging in a labor dispute. Check.
Bonuses worth hundreds of pounds.
How fucked up is that to bring up NHS pay? Like, yeah, they should do it too, motherfucker. What do you mean?
Not good enough.
They have to cut 400 million out of their operational expenditure, thanks to Grant Shapps.
And not only that, but also the other side of this is that the austerity measures implemented by the Tory government were supposed to be put to an end. Boris Johnson unironically campaigned on 9 years of austerity are done. We are going to fund the NHS. 38 new hospitals were slated to open in the UK. 38. I think 4 have opened. They did not fund the NHS. They were supposed to fund the NHS adequately. The reason why nurses and doctors are suffering, and that the UK actually recently came out with a new study, if I recall correctly, that they have a significant lack of nurses and doctors in the UK right now as a consequence of these kinds of fucking lack of pay and lack of opportunity in the healthcare field. Okay? This is all entirely on the hands of the Tory government. Okay? All entirely on the hands of the Tory government. They lied and said that they were going to pay the nurses more. They lied that they say they were going to adequately fund the NHS, and they never did that. Okay? Part of it is also Brexit too, for the record. But regardless, also another fucking Tory attitude, Tory agenda. It's complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And then these fucking pieces of shit have the audacity to fucking pin the low pay for nurses on another union that is successfully engaging in a labor dispute by striking with a work stoppage.
So they're slashing 1/3 of the entire maintenance frontline workforce. They're cutting maintenance schedules in half. This is the infrastructure you'll be travelling on. That's
They're attacking this dude with the same talking points haters attack you.
Bit of a row over one of your colleagues, Eddie Dempsey, who I think is your deputy, if I've got that right, who, it is reported, lives in taxpayer-subsidised social housing in Islington Council. And as you rightly point out, you say, when did council housing become...
taxpayer giving to his housing?
Yes, as you rightly point out, when did...
They're saying he's got... I mean, they're not saying the same thing that they say about me, but if he had a nice house, they would say that as well. But they're saying he has a shit house. Well, not a shit house, but a council house. And that's government-funded housing, for the record. Government-funded housing, for those of you who don't know. That's what... It's not like Section 8 housing. It's like fully government-funded housing. Why is he living on, government-funded housing if he has a job?
When did council housing become for people that are poor? You don't have to be poor. You're absolutely right, of course, Miss Lynch, but do you not agree that he might be blocking that property for somebody who is not in receipt of a six-figure salary? That's a fair point, isn't it?
Well, he's not in receipt of a six-figure salary for starters, so I know what his salary is because he works for me and he doesn't receive a six-figure salary.
I apologise. I would imagine it's a healthy salary, though.
Six-figure salary either.
Okay.
These guys are such fucking pieces of garbage, dude. We're currently watching. Do you want something to drink? By the way?
Yeah, sure.
You can hit the fridge if you want before you start. What? No, I'm good. I have zero Baja, Felix. I have zero Baja and Mountain Dew Zero and regular Diet Mountain Dew. Honest question, why does Mick talk to these assholes? Why engage with combative reactionaries? What do you mean? Every time he fucking owns one of these dickheads, he's able to... These talking points would go unaddressed if it wasn't for someone like Mick Lynch going up and talking directly to them and destroying their fucking perspective. That's kind of what his job is. That's literally what he is. Are you following the railway strikes in UK?
Oh, yeah. They like... I don't know, yeah. They hate any union leader there. Did you see the interview? This was a while ago, but it was like, I forget, like some Sky News loser. But she was like, I'm every bit as working class as you are, to Mick Lynch.
Yeah. Well, they're also saying that he's not working class. They're saying...
Why?
Because he's a union baron. From a country that has the fucking House of Lords, they use baron as a negative thing, and they talk about the fucking union baron.
Yeah. No,
I love that.
They're becoming so much like us, but it's particularly ridiculous for them because of their like ingrained class system. It's already ridiculous for us to do that thing where we just blue collar is just like an affectation, but for them, when they do it, it's literally people who grew up in castles pretending to be like blue collar, like the woman who is saying that she's more working class than him.
You like that? Are you reading that? Oh. Friend of the show,
Yes.
Felix Biederman is going to talk about his new construction project in Saudi Arabia, The Line, and more.
I would love to live on the line.
Yeah. It looks great. No, it looks awesome. It's just never going to be made, so.
What if they make it, though?
I mean, that'd be sick.
Yeah, no.
Be great.
I mean, there are not enough like South Asian indentured servants in the world to make that thing.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, they would have to. First of all, they would have to confiscate too many passports.
Yeah,
and that's a problem. Like that's a logistical hurdle that the Saudi government is not going to be able to overcome.
Yeah, no. I mean, there are a lot like. It also like. They would need to create like their own atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the least practical ideas I've ever seen in my life.
Let's finish this real quick because they're saying Union Rep Eddie Dempsey should give up his council home because he has a job. That's what
fact,
yeah. They're saying like, oh, he has a 6-figure salary. And then Mick Lynch is like, no, he doesn't. He works for me. I know what his salary is. It's not 6 figures. But he's like, well, what if someone poorer could take his house? And of course, if he had a nicer house, and they'd be like, "Oh, look at the fucking working class guy with the nice house." Like Boris Johnson. What the fuck am I saying? Corbyn has like a relatively normal house, and they were using his neighbor's real estate prices when his neighbor like actually sold his house. I think it was like a £1 million house or something, which is like not crazy, especially in London. Holy fuck! And they were using that against Corbyn.
Yeah, I mean, like, the British press is particularly evil.
Yeah.
I feel like the American press is directionlessly evil unless there is a war going on, and then they display some degree of coordination. The British press, though, they don't have the same illusions that American journalists have. Like, they know that they're just awful, cynical servants of capital, and they'll organize to just attack everyone from every angle, any class enemy.
Yeah, and they're fucking nasty.
Yeah.
They're nasty with it. Like, American media is still tame, I think, because, like, we have so successfully neutered. I've been thinking about this a lot. I talked about this with, like, Navarre Media when I was out there, too. I think American media has, or not American media, but, like, in America, we have so successfully neutered the labor movement, and there's nothing that, like, you rarely ever see the media take up strong positions against labor because labor disputes are not all too common. And when they are common, or even if they do happen regularly, it's never striking at the heart of like industry in a meaningful capacity. It's not like you don't see the fucking stevedores coming out and doing like a labor dispute in the middle of like that logistical that supply chain crisis.
Yeah.
Like if they had done that, like longshoremen or dock workers, like if they had come out and been like, all right, we're gonna do a fucking strike right now, the media would be like, the media would probably behave in a similar way that British media does right now against the RMT. But we don't even know what American media would look like in an antagonistic relationship with labor because it doesn't exist.
The like composition of the two media is kind of different. I mean, with American media, I feel like in the last I don't know, since like the 2010s about the people who make up American media, the people who work as American journalists, a lot of the times they are the sons and daughters of pretty rich people, but they felt like they needed a profession that had meaning. They couldn't just do like avant-garde puppet shows or like whatever rich kids used to do. They have to do something, they saw the newsroom or like felt like in any movie, like journalist is like the one meaningful job that like the Sophia Bush character
speaking
does.
truth to power.
Yeah. So journalists in America have to believe a certain set of stupid things in order to do their jobs, but they're not like, I don't feel like there's the same level of like conspiracy as there is with British media. With British media, I don't know. There's a hereditary thing where you go into journalism. You come from a long line of like cynical, shitty journalists who were doing the same thing to union organizers in like 1910.
They're the
as you're
OG
doing
article
today.
heads.
Yeah. Well, their media is also per capita way bigger than ours. Like ours is just as much as almost anything, like a victim of American downsizing and profit maximizing. But theirs is like, they can stand to have lost leaders for the purpose that it fills.
Yeah. Someone said, absolutely no way you can say there's less conspiracy in the U.S. media than the U.K. No. Our media is way cooler. Like, it's way more fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. British paps are fucking nuts, though. They will literally be like, here's a photo of... If you had, like... we only have the National Enquirer, right? Like, they have an entire, like, genuinely robust industry of National Enquirers, which, by the way, was also created by a British guy. So, there's that, too.
Yeah.
But... So still, you take the L on that, England. But it would literally be like, Joe Biden's cock. Here's a photo of it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like they would send like a prostitute or something to have sex with Brandon and snap photos of him and then post it everywhere. Like it would be Hunter Biden, but for Joe all the time if they operated in a similar vein.
It's not to like, I'm not saying that American media like isn't conspiratorial in any way, and there's like no overarching plan or like class solidarity. And as I said, you really see them that they're able to act in a conspiratorial way, especially when there's a war going on or they feel they have to fight to preserve a war. I think that is like you're misinterpreting me if you think I'm saying that it's not conspiratorial. I'm just saying like the baseline for how conspiratorial they are it's higher in the UK. I feel like they're more competent. There's more of them. There's more of a
he's not saying
structure.
conspiracy theories. He's saying conspiracy, like in the normal version.
Yeah.
Like they collude and conspire with one another to backbreak, working class movements and whatnot in a way that like the American media doesn't. Because the American media has like mythologized the perspective of a journalist, even though it's like a feckless, neutered position, and you're still absolutely working with the centers of power when you're a journalist in America, just like you would be in the UK. But American journalists like that are descendants of the fucking Vanderbilts and shit still think that they are working on the side of social justice. And with a lack of like serious labor momentum in this country, you don't get to ever present yourself as antagonistic towards labor in any meaningful capacity in America as you would in the UK.
One of a good example of like the way that American media is and the way